So here's an example of one that I finished. I typed the text in, then I converted it into an outline. I also added a drop shadow on there, and then I imported the bird and placed it in there, and then I drew a wire for it to sit on. Okay, so now I'm going to go to Artboard 3, View, Fit Artboard in Window. So I've typed the word fuller. Now once I can click on the shape, I can drag it. For this example, I want the L's to be straight and not have the other part on there. Okay, so I'm going to highlight my text. And even though over here under Properties, I can go and look for my samples, I can only see, just a short number of examples. So sometimes I like to go up here and do Window, Type, Character. Okay, so now when I bring this down, I can see this a little bit easier. I could also filter the fonts. So if you are here in class, in this example, I want a sans serif font. And you know what, it may also be because I have this in all capital letters. That's probably it. Okay, so in this case, I made those lowercase. And if you can see the difference, those are actually a little bit taller than all of the other letters. So that's something really neat that we can go and fix. So right now, this is text, and I can't edit each individual letter. So if I wanted to, I could adjust the tracking to give some spacing between each of the letters. And remember, if we were going to adjust the kerning, that would be adjusting the spacing between just two letters. I want to center this, so I can go to Object, Align. So to do that, I'm going to go to Window and Align, so the Align panel appears. Okay, and I want to align this horizontally and in the middle. Okay, so in this case, I need to make sure I change it to align to the artboard, not to the selection. Okay, so now I know it is even. So now once I have my text selected, I can right-click and go to Create Outlines, or I can go to Text, Create Outline. So from here, I can go and I can edit each letter individually. So I want to bring this down to the 300, let's say 350, so that way I can make sure that I try to get both of these to the same point. Okay, And Fuller sells cars, so I'm going to try to then have a street going out from either side. So I did an edit copy, edit paste. Now I need to rotate this 90 degrees. Okay. So to rotate, object, transform, rotate. Okay, this is going to be 90. And click OK. And then in a minute, we can just do it just like that. And right here, Control C, Control V to paste. I can select the shape, object, transform, rotate. And I can do the preview. This is great for non-math teachers. Or for this one, I still should be able to do 90. Okay, so I may want to go ahead and join all of these together. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and click on all of these. And I can do Object in Group. Sorry, so remember, so now each one of these are individual. So now we want to make sure that they're all grouped together. A shorter way to do that would be to use the selection tool. Just drag one bounding box around all of it and make sure that it's grouped. Okay. I want to make sure that the vehicle that I use is transparent. So I'm going to do Subaru, and I'm going to do a .png. Remember, if it's going to be transparent, it's got to be a PNG file typically. So I'm under Images, and I'm going to click Tools, Color, and Transparent. Now, sometimes you might think it's transparent, and it's really not. Also, ideally, depending on the direction of the vehicle, I would want it to be going to the left, but that's okay because I can always go back a little bit later and rearrange it. So anytime I'm trying to find a shape to save, if I'm looking for one image, I'm going to go ahead and try to do 4 or 5. So that way when I get ready to actually insert the image, if one doesn't work, I've got several others that are already in my box that I can try to use. So ideally also we want to try to make sure that maybe some of these are a little bit higher quality right here. And like for this one, I'm not sure if it's going to be transparent or not, but I can save it anyway. Okay. I'm going to diverge a little bit and talk about symbols. So now I've got 4 different vehicles, and I may want to use these symbols often. So now what I want to do is I want to open up the symbol library. Okay, and then I want to click and drag each symbol into the library. Okay, and I'm going to call this okay, and I'm just going to do a quick graphic. Okay, and I'm going to drag this one in. My son Fuller would probably be very upset. I did not know the difference of a Forester and an Outback. At this point, they're all cars. Okay, and then finally the white one. Okay, now really quick, I want to delete the symbols I have right here so I can make a new symbol library. Okay, so I have these selected now, even though I still have the Adobe Academy, that's fine. I'm just going to do that for an example. So I'm going to click Save Symbol Library, and I'm going to call the symbol library Subaru Cars. Now just a little side note, this is running in my app data in a folder called Adobe Illustrator 24 Settings. Okay, and at this point I literally could just move those and delete them. So now I can go to Window and Symbols, and I've got my vehicles, and I can just click and drag from the symbol right here. Now this is not clip art, so we'll just look and see what happens if we want to go to Object Transform, and if we want to rotate it a little bit. Sometimes it's the more obvious one, and we're going to click on the bounding box, click and rotate over. Now actually I'm thinking now that I like this with maybe just one vehicle. And not two. Okay, I've also mentioned this before. Okay, so once I've got this artboard here, let me get out of the isolation mode. Okay, I can go over to Window, Artboards, and I've got Artboard 2, and I can click and I can duplicate that. Okay, so then over here I can work on this and I can pull these out. Because of the angle that the car was on, it looked a little bit weird, like it was just kind of just sitting there. So what I did is I actually went and duplicated the L for fuller with the L, so now it doesn't look like it's just sitting on one letter. It is sitting on several. So I think that looks great. If I wanted to, I could go back in. If you notice, the car has a little bit of a shadow. So we could go in and add a glow. We could add a drop shadow if we wanted to do anything like that. So again, we could do distort and transform. We could tweak it. We could add a little drop shadow on there. If you notice, it's going to have the last settings that we used. Okay, and we can adjust the opacity of that as well. So again, so sometimes with your client, it may help if you give them several different examples. Okay, now I did notice down here that the drop shadow goes below the lines, so that actually does not look as good, so I'm going to tweak that a little bit. Okay, so now that we are done, as you can see, I also went to Window and Artboards, and I renamed them. So this Artboard 5 is now fuller with a drop shadow. And then this one is fuller orange car. Okay, now I can save this. Okay, and then if I want to export and print these, I don't want to do all of these because right now those are the only two that I really like. So then I can do File and Export. Export as. Okay, I'm going to do JPG, and now I'm going to click Artboards, and I'm going to click 2, 5. Oh, 3, 5, because those are the ones that I want to have. And for the final ones, I want to save those on my desktop.